It's 2 o'clock. We'll call this August 3rd meeting of the Board of Commissioners to order. Please join us for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here. We will begin with the approval of the minutes from our July 20th meeting.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
A motion by Mark, second by Dale to approve the July 20th minutes. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Okay, department reports. The Honorable Judge Hubert Brandstetter is here with a 144 request.
Yes, thank you.
Good afternoon. And I'll be brief. I had an employee, a secretary/court reporter, who recently left due to a family relocation. They moved to Florida, and so I want to wish them well. They've done a good job for us and been here for about 1.5 years now. So I'd like to make a request to hire to fill that position. Krista Hall is the lady's name, and she has some really good office experience. I think she'll bring a lot to us. She has quite a bit of work scheduling, and that will really help our office as well. So we'd like to make a request to hire her.
And what did you say her name was again?
Krista Hall.
Krista Hall.
Yes.
I'll move to approve of 144 for Krista Hall.
We have a motion by Mark, second by Dale, to approve the 144 request for Judge Brandstetter for Krista Hall. Is there any questions? Judge, will she be able to work with you?
Let's hope.
Okay.
No, she seems like a very tolerant person, so I think she'll do fine.
Okay, good. I'll wish her luck.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. Is there anything else you need?
I also wanted to thank you for the work that you've started doing in the attic of the courtroom with the insulation. I think that's going to be a really nice addition. We're looking forward to having a more even temperature throughout the year. We'll be a little warmer in the winter and hopefully a little cooler in the summer.
Well, thank you for that. I hope you notice a difference.
Yeah, I think we really will, and it's been a while, I guess. So.
Yeah, it's only been 172 years.
Right. So that
We got it in the early stages.
Yeah. So we got a guy working on it that's not afraid of work.
Yep.
And it's not a pleasant work environment up there. It's hot, really, really hot, and it's dirty and nasty. But we'll get that done as soon as possible.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Grant Administrator, Administration, Jolisa Bates.
Hello, good afternoon. As you know, we have to come before you to request approval for our quarterly claim that we submit to NDOT on behalf of the Senior Center for their transit program. This quarter, we are requesting $89,904. That is what we are pulling down for the quarterly claim. And I just need your permission to submit this and to have Dale sign the claim.
I'll move to approve. I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Dale, second by Mark to approve the public transit claim. You say $89,480?
$904. $89,904.
904. Okay.
Yes.
Any further question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane.
Thank you much.
Would you like to have that right now?
I can just get it from Jane tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Don't lose that. Sheriff Laughlin is here. Sheriff, do you have something for us?
Yeah. Good afternoon. We have some proposals that we'd like to bring forward to you guys. Our kitchen is kind of in a state of flux right now. We just had a lady leave for another job, and I'm sure you guys are all aware. We have 3 cooks in the kitchen. We had a lady take another job somewhere else. We hired to fill that position. I won't get into some of the candidates, some of the people we had show up, but some people just never showed up for the interviews. One guy showed up and was on work release from another county for possession of meth. We did not get very strong candidates. We did get one really good person, hired them, they worked 2 days and quit. We were lucky enough to find another person. We hired them. Now Kathy Duncan, one of our other cooks, is leaving, she's retiring. And Sue Wilson, our main cook, is potentially looking at leaving as well. So we're down to 2 cooks right now. Kathy has agreed to stay on to help in a transition period. But a few months ago, I reached out to other sheriffs. What's going on in your counties? What are you guys doing? A lot of these other jails are hiring food service companies to come in, completely take over. Order the food, cook it, do everything. And every sheriff I spoke to highly recommended doing that. So we reached out to 2 companies, Tiger and Canteen, and got some proposals. I've talked to Jane, Jane about it some. I don't know, this is something we need to make happen now. Both companies are saying it'd be a few weeks before they could come in, but I'm really concerned we're going to get to a point where we're going to not have any cooks, not be able to serve meals in the jail. So obviously that would be a huge issue. So we have a few proposals here. I'm going to let Zach explain those to you guys, kind of give you the details of what's going on, and then hopefully try to figure out when we could get this started. So.
All right. We got some quotes here from Tiger and Canteen, like he said. I got 2 of them, so you guys may have to share. Both of them came pretty close to the same price. What they do is they break it down per meal. They take the budget that we have for the food now, which is $182,000, and then they also take the salaries for our 3 cooks, which we figured at about $85,000. We didn't put in the benefits because we're not sure that exact number. But if you look at Tiger, they are going about $1.75 per meal. Right now, we're spending about between $1.90 and $2 a meal, depending on the cook's benefits. So there is a savings, and like he said, it takes this. We don't know how to run a kitchen; we just know how to run a jail. It takes that away from us and puts it on them. They get to hire the people. They have hiring coordinators that go out and find people that do this kind of work. It's hard for us to do that. We had a really good head cook before. We got another one now, but as soon as she retires, we're going to be in trouble. Yes.
Now, these people, do they use our kitchen and stuff?
They'll use our kitchen. We still have to maintain the kitchen. We have to maintain the freezers, the oven, the trays, all that. But the food, totally them, and the cooks, is totally them. So when you look at the budget, all we pay for is the food right now out of this line item, and the salaries and the benefits, and that's the number we're coming up with, which is about almost $2 a meal is what we're paying now when you figure everything in. Now that's not the electric, the gas, that's going to be there regardless. But when you put all that on them, we're going to be saving. Tiger had it at about $72,000, and Canteen is probably pretty close to that. They're a little more expensive. But this is also serving the inmates, I think it's 2 hot meals and 1 cold meal. They say that's what most jails go to. DOC, that's what they do. At night, they get a sub sandwich with some other stuff. And most counties are going to that.
And that's one of our big issues right now is the cooks start at 2:30 in the morning. So as we're interviewing people, what's the days? Well, you work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every other Sunday, and you have to be here at 2:30 in the morning. That's an unusual time for people to start their workday, and the pay is much better than it's been. The council has been very generous. The pay is pretty decent right now, but as every business in town, every entity in town could tell you, hiring is very, very difficult right now. And, with the pay being pretty good, but okay, but coming in at 2:30 in the morning, and plus not everybody's super thrilled to be working around inmates. One thing, there's 3 kitchen trustees in there all the time, and these quotes are dependent on that. The 3 kitchen trustees being in there working, cooking, and helping. That's why, you get a little bit of a reduced rate. Not everybody's crazy about working around inmates either, so that's sometimes a deterrent for us too. But with them having these hiring coordinators, they go out in these communities and find people to work. It takes a lot of, I've interviewed 20 cooks in the past few weeks, and, there's been a few decent people, but there's a lot of people that are just not hireable for what we're doing,
And these companies also, they provide some sort of service class for the inmate workers. So when they are done in jail, they can come out and supposedly the service class, they get a certificate, and it helps them get jobs out here, which ServSafe, yeah. They provide that class for the inmates, and then they can use that when they get out to try to get a job here in the community. The difference between Canteen and Tiger, again, it's only pennies. But Canteen, our population, it fluctuates, but we're usually around 130. I think that's where we are today. But we can shoot as high as 180. Canteen, their price, 130 and up, inmates, is $1.76 a meal. Tiger breaks it down a little more. For 130 inmates, it's $1.75. But when we pop up to 170, 180, it goes down to 157 a meal. So the more inmates you got, the lower the fee is, just because I guess they're buying food in bulk and it's a little cheaper for them. So it does save us some money. So,
and Tiger does offer a program called, I think it's the Tiger Scratch Kitchen is what it's called, where inmates, the family can go in online and order things like chicken wings, pizza, things like that. They say it's a big money maker for them. We receive 25% of the profit. It comes back to the county. So in bigger facilities, they're making thousands of dollars a month off of that. So, and the inmates are getting good food. I mean, they showed us some of the examples of what, and it looks like good food. The caloric intake is going to be higher. There's some issues we've had with the food. I'll discuss with any of you guys who want to talk to me later about some of that, but we've had some issues. We had an inmate that was Muslim that didn't want any pork, obviously, but did not want any of the food that touched any of the pork. Wanted us to buy completely different utensils, everything to be completely different. Both of these programs, absolutely no pork in anything. So it alleviates that concern. There will be no issues, them filing a claim with the ACLU or anything. There's no pork involved in anything. We don't see a lot of that here, but it has happened.
and like he said, we'd like to move forward with this as soon as possible, because we're down to just a few cooks, and it's hard to find somebody to go in that kitchen. We could do it.
That's coming.
We could do it. Obviously, we know how to cook
Making some
because
sandwiches.
we can eat, but it'll come to that where we're back there making bologna sandwiches for the inmates, and it's going to be rough.
When I remember when the sheriff's wife did the cooking.
Tell her. It's hard enough keeping this thing fed. 3 kids.
Probably hard enough her just putting up with you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, where are these 2 companies from?
They're both Indiana-based, I think.
They're Indiana-based companies. If we use their service, then would they replace Gordon Food Services?
Well, that's something we've talked about. Canteen is with Gordon. Tiger will use who we want. That was a concern from Gordon. They obviously don't want to lose our business. I've spoke with Tiger. If we decided to go with Tiger, would you go with Gordon? They said absolutely. They'll work with any food distributor that we want. Gordon's been really good to us. Dale, you was on council. You remember that, Mark? When I took office, our first year food budget, just food, was $252,000. We all came up with Gordon Food Services, we got down to 180, and we stayed right at 180, just barely tipping over. Sue's done a fantastic job, Beth as well, of ordering the food and keeping things where they need to be. But this is, to me, a more efficient kitchen, and there's going to be savings to the county, which is always something good. We're going to save money. And I think the food's going to be better. It alleviates concerns. You know, I got 15 months to go. I would like to transition this off to the next sheriff, and, you know, hey, that's one less burden, headache you need to worry about. The kitchen's good to go. They came highly recommended. I did a lot of research, a lot of talking with other sheriffs, and both companies. Both had great presentations. They've been fantastic to work with. You know, our thing, it's an unusual request in August to come in and say, hey, can we start this? You know, one question is, how's that contract work? Is that something that the commissioners sign, that you're up? You know, I told them both, my term's up after next year. I don't want to obligate the sheriff or the county to anything past my term. And, you know, that's always something I think is important, because next sheriff may come in and say, I don't like these. They both offer commissary too, which is a good thing, because if you partner, there's even more savings. We go through another company right now, Keefe. If we partner with them, there's even more savings at that. So, but that I will let the next sheriff make those decisions.
Yeah, okay, it was 2015 when we picked up Gordon Food Service.
I believe you're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do have a contract with Gordon. Our attorney's not here yet. He's due to show up any time. I don't know what the complications yet would be with our contract with Gordon
Okay.
on this. Now, Zach, you said that Tiger would pick up the salaries of our current cooks?
Of the cooks, yes, that's figured in the per meal price that they've come up with. They take care of the salaries for if the current cooks want to stay, they said they're fine with that. But if they don't, they'll bring some other people in.
And they will go from 3 to 2.
That
Just
means
a
then,
full-time cook.
if the current cooks stayed, then they would start working for Tiger rather than Fayette
Yeah, they'd be
County.
Tiger employees, so that takes away the benefits that the county's paying for them also.
Okay.
That's the number we couldn't really come up with. We didn't know what that was.
Okay, I understand that better now.
Was there anything in there to keep their benefits, the cost of their benefits to them, so where if they keep the cooks you have, that they don't lose any money by switching to this company?
No, they said that their salary is based on their experience. Sue's been here for a while, so they told us that they would probably make more, and the benefits are better than what we provide. The county provides now, so it's according to them, it's going to be better for the cooks.
The Tiger presentation, they will pay no insurance premium. The cooks will pay no insurance premium. Now, if they have family, spouse, they would have to pay those, but none of that, and they have a 401k too. So, and they said there'd be no reduction in salary. It only would either stay the same or go up.
Then will they be in the retirement program still, or
No, they would move over into either Tiger or Canteen, whichever we decide to go with.
I can tell you, we have talked to Sue quite a bit. Her being there the longest, and really she would like to stay. She is really excited about it. There is no trepidation from her, or why are you guys doing this to me? She's like, hey, when can we get this going? Because Sue has kind of fell into the role of being the boss of the kitchen. She is fantastic. She does not relish that role. She does not like having to make the decisions and order the food. This will take a big burden off of Sue, where she can focus on, cooking. She has a great relationship with the inmates. She's a terrific person to be in there, because she's the mom in the kitchen. So a lot of those guys get a lot of, hey, when you get out, you need to be there. So keeping Sue is essential to me in the transition and helping with the inmates and things. She's fantastic. Danielle's our new cook. She's been here about a month. She's done awesome. Sue's really, really high on her as well, so our hope was those two would be hired and go on, and I think they'll take that recommendation from us.
Does Sue have a preference over these companies? Or
I-
does she know
I-
anything about them?
I don't think so. I don't think so. We just interviewed the other day and we went over all of it, and I think she's happy to go with who we think. And you know, to me, I think everything's leaning towards Tiger. I really like the canteen presentation, but Tiger, there just seems to be more benefits all the way around. They're a little bit bigger company, so.
So as far as, as far as an annual expense goes, the only way we can estimate that is use their proposed price per meal
Yeah.
and then try to average that out for a year based on what we would predict our jail population.
We
would
just
be.
looked that up. Last year we were 129. So far this year we're about 130, 131 as far inmates. So we stick around that average of 130. Again, sometimes it peaks up to 180, but we're usually right around 130. So that's what the figure we used when we came up with these numbers is we're paying between at least $1.90 a meal. When you figure in benefits, it may go up to $2. I'm not sure the number that is though. So there's quite a bit of savings.
Tiger's proposal, you probably see that in there, their estimate, they asked for a ton of information. I mean, we were printing out our menus from the past few years, our salaries from the past, they got a ton of information from us. And their guesstimate is that it's gonna save the county $72,000. So, just based off those figures. So, they've done their homework. They're not just kind of throwing out loose terms. Now, obviously, we don't know if there's a drug bust coming or we end up getting, the fall is always when our population spikes. Fall and the winter, it does. It doesn't make sense because you think more people will be out committing crimes in the summer, but everybody gets stir crazy in the fall and winter and starts doing bad stuff. So we spike up then. But, those numbers go up. Thank goodness with COVID. It's one of the good byproducts for us is our population has been down of the horrible things that have happened with it, but our population has been down, so it has helped us in some ways.
That could change at any time.
Anytime.
It's starting
I'm gonna do this while I say.
Yeah, it's starting to slowly. We were around 120 just last month, and now we're steadily around 130. So it's starting to go back up, unfortunately.
Okay, our county attorney just showed up.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Jeff.
He didn't get to hear the first part of your presentation.
Nobody wants to hear that again.
Jeff, the sheriff is proposing to make a change in food service at the jail. And my question is, since we do have a current contract with Gordon Food Services, I have to wonder if there's anything in the Gordon Food Service contract that we should consider before making a decision on this tonight. Sheriff, you say that these two companies would partner with Gordon?
Yeah. So right now, the only thing Gordon does is provide the food. They don't do anything else. They're our food distributor. That's it.
Okay.
So both of these companies are going to have to buy food somewhere. They have both said. Canteen, Gordon, our representative, was actually in the meeting with us. So she's totally on board. That's where she's leaning and wants us to go with, because I think there's concern that Tiger wouldn't partner. Tiger assures us, and to me, it's part of our deal. You either go with Gordon or we'll go elsewhere. But they have assured us that they will get the food from Gordon. I'm a pretty loyal person. Gordon helped us out, got us straightened out, and have been fantastic. Anytime we have issues, phone call away, they've been great to work with. Contract or not, to me, I like to stay with Gordon at least until then next year. And with one of these food service companies coming and actually running our kitchen.
Okay, then if it were Tiger, they would have to build their menu around what Gordon is able to supply.
That is correct. And they said that wasn't an issue. We went over the menu with them too, and said it would be no issue. So, and actually with the meals, just so, I mean, not that that's relevant, but the meals that they do, they're gonna do 2 hot breakfast, hot lunch, cold dinner, and then they prep breakfast that night. So the next morning, they just come in and roll out breakfast, a few things here and there. So that 2:30 in the morning time that we're talking, that work day gets a lot better for people. You're coming in, I think they said at 7, and then they're leaving in the afternoon. So will be easier for them to hire.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Well, here's something, a consideration that I hate to talk about in a public meeting, but let's say Tiger's employees not being your employees, is there a security risk to be considered?
They gave us the right to refuse anybody. They'll do their background checks, we can do our background checks, and the ultimate decision is up to him. The sheriff gets to make that ultimate decision on whether somebody is in our jail. It's just like with our the medical service we have now. They hired nurses, and if we say we don't want this nurse, we've had one that we said we don't feel comfortable, so they switched it out for us. So he's got the final say.
And like back to what I was saying about hiring in the jail, I want to clarify what I said, just so, you know, I'm all about second chances and people getting, it's hard to put somebody in our kitchen freshly off a second chance. We had a girl interviewed great, and we said, have you ever been arrested before? She'd been arrested the prior year. Great, come and see us in a few years. But, so them kind of taking that, we're going to know, if somebody pops up and say, not just yet, we're going to pull arrest record or pull their criminal history and go, well, let's wait just a little bit, or, not that they can't be a good employee someday, but.
And I think
yeah,
Tiger, they have an ex-police officer that does their background checks and he does their investigations. So if we call and say, hey, we think a cook is having a relationship with an inmate worker, they'll come down and investigate it, look into it, and we also will, but they take it pretty serious when we call and say, hey, there's an issue. Because that's what they said.
Well, you know as well as the rest of us do that jail kitchens are an easy avenue for trafficking.
Absolutely.
And it's something you have to watch pretty closely. Jeff, my question to you would have been if there was a conflict, a possible conflict between this food service and our contract with Gordon Food Service, but after hearing the rest of this, it doesn't sound like that would be a problem.
It doesn't sound like it. It might not be bad to have somebody from Gordon kind of shoot that in an email or something.
Yeah, no, we can do that. Make that happen.
How urgent is this business?
Probably 2 weeks ago. I'd have been here 2 weeks ago, but I had to take my mom to the doctor. So, yeah. Well, there's been some recent developments that make it even more. I'll tell you guys later. That make it even more of a concern. I don't know that we're going to retain what we have. So.
Well, I've done all the talking here. You guys got to have
Could
something.
we accept like using Tiger as long as they can work with Gordon Food Service?
I guess so.
That way it would tie our contracts together. Wouldn't be infringing on anything.
Yeah. Well, Gordon Food Service has been an awful good company to work with, and I would hate to do anything to damage that relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
When does their contract come due?
I think the end of my term.
So
Sure.
you
We
could
need
take,
to look at that.
you could take one of these two and try to make a contract to end at the end of your term.
Yeah. That's ideal. To me, it would be great to start at the beginning of next year, and that was the original plan. But as
It ain't
things
gonna
keep
work.
changing, we need to, because they're saying at least 6 to 8 weeks to get here and set up. They'll get here quicker if need be, but there's a lot of holes in the boat right now, so we need to, quicker we can get them here, I don't want to sink, so.
So would they do a 15-month contract?
Yeah, that's what they talked
Both of them
about.
would?
Yeah. Both of them talked about at least the 1 year with 2 1-year renewals that were options, for the sheriff and the commissioners to go forward with. But both were understanding of our plight and ready to help out.
Well, obviously, there will be some sort of agreement that we will have to make with either one of these companies. Do you have anything like a contract proposal? I mean, something that we have to sign for either one of them?
No, because really this was kind of fact-finding and seeing what you guys thought from your end, if you guys were agreeable. I assumed that you guys would be, but I didn't know. It's a phone call as soon as we leave here to say, hey, I think we're ready. If you get us something, if you guys would be good with that, come back to the next commissioner meeting and get everything lined out and get the ball rolling. Would that be
It worked for me.
okay?
I got no problem with that. We just want to make sure that we've got, crossed all our Ts and dotted all our Is before we tell them to come in and do anything.
Right. If not, some local restaurant's gonna be really happy with us.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of takeout from Maggie's or Coco's.
Which company do you guys prefer?
Tiger, just because it does break down, if we get up to 170 inmates, it gets cheaper. So to me, that's the best option. And then we have the commissary option of if somebody says they're not getting enough food, the parents can order a cheeseburger for their family member, and then we get 25% of that in our commissary account.
And we've had that idea in the past, like, we could do this, it would get more food, and we'd make some money off of it. We can use those for projects or, whatever, vehicles, whatever. But it's always been, our kitchen staff has always been so, heavily burdened anyway, and really didn't, I don't know that we can make this work. They're saying we can come in, we'll make it work, and, 25% profit. In one county, they quoted us making a few $1,000s a month. Now, they were 400 inmates. So, but if we made a little extra money, always helps to offset. There's always, as we know over there's always something that pops up. So you put that in a fund aside and have some extra money, that'd be great.
I guess, question, can we make a motion to approve using Tigers, make an agreement with Tigers for 15 months? That would be his term, be the term for Gordon, or does it need to be stated some other way?
No, I think we can do that. Do we have a contract?
We do.
Okay. We can do that and then just say pending approval by legal for the contract. And the main things are gonna be that it doesn't re-up and that Indiana laws apply. I try to sneak that in, but yeah, you can do that pending approval by legal, the contract. That would help get the ball rolling with them.
I'll move to do that with how he said it.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Mark, to give the sheriff permission to go ahead and get a preliminary contract agreement arranged with Tiger for a 15-month contract. And if you can, have that ready for us in a couple of weeks to come back and the sooner the better, really, so that the county attorney can glance at things and see if there's anything that needs.
And that way you guys won't have to make new sandwiches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, can come help if we
A lot
have
of
to.
hamburger helper and spaghetti over there. Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. We'll get this together and I'll send it to all of you even before the meeting, so we'll get it.
Okay,
Thank
is
you.
there any other question or comment? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. Okay. Emergency management, Adrian Ellis is here. Updated OSHA and safety plan and hazard mitigation plan.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm coming for you, Mark. I'm good. Since I've visited, I've upgraded things again. I want to try to stay ahead of them. That whenever or if they make a decision, we're ahead of that game. So I've made some the sections that OSHA wants and try to alleviate any other things. And I've included exercise and documentation that we'll be looking at down the road. A lot of things going on within that, but I've not heard anything from them. Dale, I don't know if you have.
No, I have not.
I'll take that as a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not calling. But we've got that out of the way, and the other part, before the pandemic hit, we started on a disaster mitigation program, and that was put on hold. That started in 2018. Then 19 came along, they drug their feet. And I put a proposal in to get us on that. We have a fairly mandated requirement to maintain that. That is looking down the road at natural and man-made disasters. That grant is a total of $24,943. That's what it would cost, but because I was able to get a grant, $19,000, basically $460 will be paid for by grant, and we will have to put a match of $6,500 in. That match will be in kind by me. I will be doing a hazard analysis for the county, and that will satisfy that grant, so there'll be no cost to the county. We'll be looking at chemical storage, transportation, environmental release, natural events. All this sets up funding possibilities if we have a disaster, or look at things that will mitigate the disaster. But that is a federal requirement, we have to get it done. I will be working with IUPUI and the Polis Center. We will have 3 meetings, and I will have to submit my data, and we'll have probably public meetings and get those done, but there's no cost to the county. Civil rights, I'm in the middle of training, and for all kids out there listening, when you graduate from college, classes are not over. It never ends. Once I get to a comfortable point, I want to sit down with the judges, prosecutor, county attorney, kind of hash things through, look at where we're at, get that completed. Last year I was invited to take part in writing the new state Homeland Security plan, and that is done. Now we're going through that, and kind of business venture down the road that may have benefits for us. So, having said that, that's done. The other thing I'm working on is a communications plan. Unfortunately, this has never been done for the county or there. Some background information. There are ramifications that go with that if things aren't done, it could be deeply expensive. And there's a magazine called QST. It's for ham radio operators. If you look in the back of it, it has a listing of FCC funds, and they're nasty. And I want to make sure we avoid that. And in the same respect, I have some testing going on that I'm trying to look at any possibilities of the infrastructure bill that may go through that we could get a new communication system, all-encompassing, and solve some problems. But there's testing to be done. We're halfway through it. This originated from the mayor asking me to do this for the city, and we're getting closer. The last thing is NIMS, National Incident Management System. That is a federal requirement for all emergency services, and we have got to get that done. It's a reportable activity every year. Some missed it last year, and if you look at the communications plan, there are issues in there that relate to that. Failure to get that done can be dangerous. In Iowa, the wildfires cost the lives of 2 firemen, and the population of Iowa was so low that they had to raise property taxes to pay the bill. In South Carolina, there's a mattress company fire. 7 firemen died, and OSHA fined them $27 million for not using them. So we've got to get on board with that, and basically, that's all I have.
Well, there's an awful lot here to absorb.
Yes, there is.
I want to thank you for putting this together.
My pleasure.
And these response plans, you don't know what you're going to have to respond to at any given time. And if somebody like, an outside agency comes in and says, well, where was your plan for this? And we say, we don't have one, and you just saved us a whole lot of trouble here.
In that first part of the OSHA activities, there are some exercises in there that I think we need to do. I've talked with the fire chief about that. And also, when those 2 guys were here, they talked about training. Well, we have that, it just wasn't noted, but now it's in there. So things like that, they don't have to look for and ask. And I was told by someone who'd been through that before, they were probably shocked to get that within 24 hours. So we get those things done and move on and get better at it.
Okay, well, we will keep this on file in the commissioner's office as well as the auditor's office, and I assume it will be kept on file in your office?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
The only other thing is Homeland Security is playing makeup right now. All the classes and training and everything was missed during the pandemic. I'm out of town virtually every week somewhere. Indianapolis, Anderson, Muncie, down at Camp Adbury or Muscatatuck, down by North Vernon, and it is gets exhausting. A lot of weekends, a lot of long days and everything, but towards the end of the year, that should calm down, and then the mitigation plan is a year-long process. So sometime this time next year, we'll start having our meetings and get this wrapped up. But it's a go, it's paid for, we'll be better off with it. And I'm kind of keeping my head low because I'm in the computer all day, I'm studying, I'm going to classes, so I don't have a lot of time. We're having that.
Okay, you guys got any questions for Adrian on all this? Thank you, sir, very much.
You're very welcome.
IT, Michael King is here for got a quote for some laptops.
Yep. Just real quick, Sheriff's Department needs a couple laptops. The best option I feel is the Acer Nitro 5 from Amazon. They had a couple in stock for $7.99. Just printed that off yesterday, but by today they may not be available. That's how fast the stocks are clearing out. So what I would like to get approved is to get 2 of them for up to $825, because the prices they had listed for other suppliers varied from $806 to $819, kind of around there. So I figured between the other suppliers I can get a couple of those. The other quotes I had were for Dell. It's what I feel is a lesser machine. Dell had a price of $789. It's a refurb machine or an outlet machine, and then the price on the Amazon for that same machine was $718, $719. But I think the Acer Nitro will last longer. If they treat it well, we'll more likely be able to use that same laptop for 4 or 5 years. It's the same one Jane's using right now, actually. But if
software and everything goes up the way, the needs of the software goes up the way it has been, we're more likely to be able to use that Acer laptop a longer period. Whereas the Dell laptop is almost as expensive, but it doesn't have the same capability graphics wise as the Acer does.
Okay,
Do they got the money in their budget?
I think they have one of them coming, I think, from the sex offender fund. I think the other one, they said they might have a commissary. If not, I've got IT budget for it. So one way or another, we got budgets for it.
I move to approve the Acer computers. Laptops.
Second.
we have a motion by Dale, second by Mark, to approve the quote for two laptops. The Acer Nitro 5 laptop, 9th generation, for $789 each.
Up to 825. I'm going to get them as low as I can, but
Okay.
825 would be the max for each one.
All right, up to $825 each. Any further question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. Is there anything else? Mike?
That's all I need. I'll get those ordered. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Health Department, Matt Shirk is here
Hi.
with a preparedness grant.
Yes, the grant agreement that we use for the preparedness that hires Alvin Day for us for part-time, they sent a renewal, and I just wanted to ask permission or get your approval to renew it. We've done it every year for a lot of years now, probably 12, 15 years we've been doing the preparedness annually. This year it's $25,000. We broke it down into a budget would be for Alvin, $12,097 and some change, plus it'll also pay his FICA at $925. And then it would supplement my salary, reimburse the county for my salary, almost $10,000. And then there would be $1,080 for pay up Verizon bill and $350 in supplies. So that's how it would break down to pay for any supplies he might need, and then also his salary and again supplement my salary. So it does
Okay.
come with some requirements, which we do. The attachment A requires us to attend meetings and do trainings and stuff like that, which we've been doing every year since the contract began.
I can't remember now how long Alvin's been here, but it's been a
Alvin's
while.
just been here. Yeah, it's been 2 or 3 years now. Alvin's
Yeah.
been working for us. So, but before that, we've had others in the position.
And when does this one expire?
They usually run August to August, or July to August. So we're actually late getting this one started.
Okay.
So,
Joe Lisa's here. Joe Lisa, is there anything we need to know about this?
It's the standard that we do every year. It's good.
Okay, good enough.
Move to approve it.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion by Dale, second by Mark to approve the renewal of the preparedness grant for $25,000. Any further question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane.
perfect.
Is there anything else, Matt?
No, there is a slight uptick last week in positivity rate for the county. We were seeing about 4 or 5 positives a day, so we are on a little bit of an uptrend. So we want to encourage everybody to take precautions. There's some variants going around, so be sure to come see us and get your vaccine. Try to avoid, instances where you can't distance. So we are still giving the vaccines out at the health department, free of charge. Stop by any time.
Okay.
Then Dr. White here with me, is here today also, so if you have any other questions, he's here available.
Okay. Does Dr. White have anything to share today?
Back up there.
No, they'll.
We got another issue we're gonna look at.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Highway Department, Jay Havland. Jay, it's nice of you to come in on your vacation.
This ain't the only place I've had to go back to. Been down the garage twice this week already. I know they've been hauling cement out places that need the road beefed up on the sides. They've been fixing that. They've been doing some spray patching and some regular hand patching. But they've been trying to get the distributor truck lined out.
And it's not lined out yet?
Last Thursday we went to use it. It was when they went to spray with it, because we got the gentleman is a district manager for it, and our come down on the chip box to fix that and get it all ready, to calibrate it out and all that stuff. And he was there, and he used to work with the distributor trucks. And when they started down the road to spray it sprayed and shut off, and it done that to him twice. And he told him just quit because it wasn't right. He said there's no use even trying to do anything with it until it gets right. So we called him back down. They come back down yesterday. They sent a guy down. He went out there, and him and Rick went out back, and they sprayed 2 or 3 passes and thought they had it where it was. Well, the gentleman from Etnar come back down today and went back over on the road to try to do it again. And it done the same thing. So he's sending his gentleman, he's got a person up there that does nothing but work on the distributor side of this, spray patching and sealing. And he's gonna be down tomorrow to work on it down there. And he said it will be right when he gets done with it.
Well, we know it used to work. That's fine, didn't it?
He said what it's doing is when we change from 12-foot bar to a 20-foot bar to match that chip box, the computer does not recognize that 20-foot bar. For some reason, the computer still thinks it's using a 12-foot bar. So I don't care how much oil you want to put down, it's only going to let you have so much for that 12-foot bar. And that's what the problem is. It's not feeding enough for the whole bar. So he said, the guy he's got coming down, we'll get it fixed. Says he's good on them, so we'll see. I may have to be down there again tomorrow.
Well, I told you I didn't want you going on vacation anyhow.
I know.
Okay. I think Dale's got something for you here.
Out on 450 East, there at the railroad tracks, there were Springersville.
Yeah.
There's families that live out there. They're asking to have the stop signs put back up at the railroad tracks. They said they were there before the cross arms, and when the cross arms were put in, the railroad or whoever took the stop sign down, and they'd like them to be put back. They said people are not stopping at all or slowing down. So
We can put it, I can get Dane to put it back up, but they won't stop for them anyway, because they never do on the railroad track. I've followed people and they've slowed down and burned right through them. But I know. I'll tell them about it.
okay. Have you come up with anything on your road graders?
I moved a guy up into that spot, one of the part-time guys, put him on full-time. And so far, he's took the brush cutter out, he'd be good with it, he'd be good with everything we put him on, so we're gonna try him on the grader next. But right now, with all the chip sealing and stuff, we just can't spare the people, because we're really still 2 down.
Yeah.
And the worst time of the year to be short of help.
That's just the way it is,
Yeah.
never fails.
Mark, you got anything for Jay? Well, now, you're gonna hang around for a while,
Yeah.
aren't you? Okay, well, when we get to Mr. Mang, I want you to be involved in that.
Okay.
And thanks,
Yeah,
Jay.
he gave me a copy of the papers.
Okay.
Thank you.
County Surveyor, Bill Mackey, do you have anything?
Not have anything to
Okay. And I don't see any other department heads. Takes care of them. Under old business, our community crossings grant bid awards. Mr. Michael Ming from Butler, Fairman, and Seaford is here today to help us with that. 2 weeks ago, we opened all the bid packages, and he's had time to go through and evaluate that. And I hope now you have all the problems combed out of this, Michael.
I know where they're at.
Okay.
This big document, it's the bid tab. What the bid tab is all the unit prices totaled up. Your all your bid packets were in order. The math was correct. So there's the little paper is as it was read, and the big paper kind of is the breakdown. So as far as the bid documents go, everything was in order. Your low bidder is still as read, which is Midwest Paving. When I did sift through what was read aloud, Dale, there was Globe had a voluntary alternate in there, and it's a practice that you guys have used in the past. So basically, they said if Jay would allow them to pave the road in one pull, then we could eliminate the joint adhesive and the joint sealant. So their secondary bid was excluding that amount. It still didn't make them the low bidder, but I wanted to bring that to your attention. That was not talked about at the last meeting. It was kind of buried in their bid documents. I'm going to take you back to when we applied back in January, and late last fall and last winter we kind of talked about the 11 miles that are on here. So our application ended up being, NDOT always has a little different information in their mapping than what we anticipate going in there. So when Jolisa had to apply, we were still looking at 450 east and 550 west. Well, the Bentonville section of that, the last 900 to 1,000, the county line, we couldn't select together, so it ended up becoming 3 projects in the application, but we bid it as 2 because it's contiguous. So if you remember, if you look at certain documentation, there's going to show 3 road segments on there, but it's still the 2 projects. When we bid, we looked at doing, it was a previous administration, I know, we looked at more complete roads. We looked at doing the culverts, maybe more edge stone, signs, mailboxes. Nothing's off the table when you do a certain level of project with NDOT and enhancements. To get the 11 miles, we were looking at 2 inches of pavement and 2 inches of berm on those, and that's what we applied for to get 11 miles and to maximize $1 million grant from NDOT. So back then we told you we thought that would come in around $1.534 million. Okay, that was with no intermediate. Prior to applying, Jay and I talked, and Jay would not like to do milling, which I agree. There was some debate whether we could do some center milling and reduce the crown and not have to wedge and level or do an intermediate base. So prior to going bid, we threw the intermediate in there to see what the numbers would come back as. So the bids that you've got in front of you has that intermediate, and it has a surface on it. So you've got about 3.5, 4 inches of pavement there in that bid. So that's how it went from 2.1 to from the 1.534. If we remove that intermediate and make it apples to apples, your bid would be 1.436, or about $98,000 higher or lower than what we had told you back in January. So set the intermediate to a side for a second. We've got a surplus in what we talked about back then. So now the decision is, do we spend that $100,000 and get some wedge and level in there? Maybe not the full 1.5 inches, and make it a little more smoother. It's still going to be a good road at 2 inches. It's going to be a better road with wedge and level, and it's going to be a great road with 1.5 inches of intermediate on there. So it's kind of a good, better, best situation. We wouldn't let you do something that wasn't going to hold up. They're all going to take the same maintenance. Obviously, with the full-blown intermediate in there, you know, it's gonna accept heavier traffic. It's probably gonna smooth it out a little more, which can create a little bit higher speeds or, you know, a better ride. So you've got great prices on the asphalt. If you look at your low bidder there in green, I think it is $62 a ton. It's probably maybe even less than what Jay's buying it for now and trucking it himself. So those are great numbers. If you have budget to spend a little more on that, the path to move forward, I think, would be to accept the bids. And if you want to eliminate the intermediate and get it right back down to your budget number or slightly less, then we would change order it in right or out right at the pre-construction conference. You got great unit prices here. It gives you some flexibility if you want to spend a little more money. We did maximize the $1 million from NDOT.
Well, that was one of the things we certainly wanted to do.
Yes.
We wanted to maximize that $1 million award. But at the $1 million level, our share was, I can't remember now, it was 333,000 or?
Yeah, we couldn't quite get you down, so to get the $1 million, you'd have to be basically $1.4 million on your project. We couldn't get it with just 2 inches quite down to there, so we were at $1,534,000, so your match would have been $383,582.
Okay, 383.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the only way we
I'm sorry, Dale, 383 is at 25% plus the 150 over the 1.4. So you're, just take that 1,534 and 534 would have been your match based on our application. I've got that for you here too.
Okay.
Maybe clarify that, instead of me throwing out numbers all over the place. That's what we give you back at application time, fellas. And that there you're gonna see the 3 roads instead of 2, but it's still the same 2. So that, the cost added up to 1,534 in this column. And you're gonna get $1 million from NDOT, so subtract $1 million, so your match would have been 534,000. Because you're a little bit over the 1.4.
I can't remember off the top of my head how much council appropriated. Can you, Jane? That by doing this, we would, you're recommending elimination of the intermediate layer and going to the surface layer only.
I think we got a little bit of flexibility, so we're about 100,000 under what we budgeted for back in January. If we do this in one pull and eliminate the joint sealant and and the adhesive that puts the 2 joints in the middle together, that joint in the middle goes away. We get that money back. And then I've got a little bit of undistributed quantity in here for deep patching. So that I've kind of figured that at 5% over the total. So we've still got a couple $100,000 of fluff in here that we could still set the paver on the ground, hit the low spots, maybe not put a full 1.5 inches of intermediate in there, but smooth it out, then put 2 inches on top of that.
Okay.
And we would get Chad and Jeremy in here like we did last year at the pre-construction conference and work that out with the contractor before we give them the notice to proceed, so you can move forward understanding the number that's going to be there at the end. So we wouldn't exceed your budget.
Jay, you got any opinions on this?
It sounds good to me. But you've seen what we did when we did it on 450 East. We paved all that. You see how smooth that is?
Yeah.
I mean,
turned
you
out
get
real
a better
well.
road if you can wedge the sides in and do it. But when we do it all at one time like we do, sometimes it picks up a little bit of waviness to it. But we haven't had a problem like that yet.
Well,
That is the better way to do it.
absolutely. One pull is the way to go on this. What do you guys think? First of all, Michael, do you need us to make a particular decision on anything with this today?
We need to move forward with NDOT one way or the other. I guess put a little faith in us that we'll do our thing during construction. You guys will all be invited to the pre-construction conference so you can talk it over with the contractor and get comfortable. He can't do anything until we give him notice to proceed. So I can't negotiate with him now until you approve it because it's still technically pre-bid because you haven't accepted a low bid yet. There's no reason not to accept them as low bidder. Everything was in order. We threw an extra pay item in there just to see where it came in. Your unit price on that is great. So if we do what we plan to do in January, you're under budget. So and we can manage it that way from the get-go, or we can try to maximize that extra couple $100,000 in there and get it even better as far as the road goes.
Yeah. Well, I want a good road.
I know you do.
I'd rather have a mile less road and have a good road than to have something that wasn't going to hold up, you know.
Right. And if just that last paper I give you, just to give you a rough idea, without intermediate in there, that's $124,100 a mile at just 2 inches of surface. So we're approaching the $170,000, $180,000 a mile with full intermediate in there. So we need to get somewhere between the two of those, and I think you'll have a great road, not just a good road.
Mm-hmm. And I think what you're talking about doing here would, in a lot of cases, eliminate the extremely high edge of the new pavement that we get so many complaints about. Once you take all that crown out of the road, you're raising some places the edge of the road 12 inches in some places, you know.
They basically are going to fill in the low spots, get you a good 2% slope on the pavement to get it to drain, and then we've got 2 inches of stone going on the edge, and then we'll have milling at all the approaches, so it all ties in exactly the same. It's the same work.
Okay.
I'll move to accept the bid from Midwest Paving.
Second.
We have a motion by Mark, second by Dale, to accept the community crossings, the 2022 community crossings paving project bid from Midwest Paving for $2 million. No, that number's going to change, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, but that's the bid we've got to accept, Dale. So the 2.1 is what you got to accept, and we'll negotiate that down.
Okay, for $2,132,776.38. I don't know what that 38 cents was for, but it was in there. Is there any further question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. Michael, is there anything else you need us to do today on
I
this?
don't believe so. And thank you for your patience and your time on the phone today, Dale.
Well, thank you for making a special trip over here today to take care of this. You let us know when you need to see us next.
Application. Will do, and thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Under old business, we have some miscellaneous quotes that we talked about before. We have a couple of quotes from some painting contractors. One from ZW Painting Solutions and one for Ladd's Painting, LLC, to paint all the exterior trim on the old county jail across the street, which needs to be, the outside of that building needs a little bit of sprucing up. So, if you guys have had time to study these quotes, do you want to do anything on those today?
I'd like to go ahead and accept the bid from the ZW Painting Solutions for $13,200.
Okay, we have a motion by Mark, second by Dale, to accept a quote from ZW Painting Solutions of Fayette County for $13,200 to do exterior painting on the Fayette County Annex building, also known as the old county jail. And is there any other question or comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. Also, we have an older quote that's right at a year old from Friendly Contracting to build a partition wall and install a door, an entrance door, and a service window in the prosecutor's office. And that was, Bill Gray got this together for us back last year, and we've never done anything with it. And it being this old, I don't know if it's still, how good it is. You guys got a feeling on this?
Well, I would move to accept the quote if it still stands, and then if it doesn't, we ought to go from there to see what it's going to be.
Okay. I guess the least we could do is ask
I
him.
imagine he's probably went up.
You know, we'd have to ask him if it's still good or not.
Yeah.
Do you need a second for that then?
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to accept a bid from Friendly Contracting to do some renovation work for the prosecutor's office. It's a two-part bid, $4,250 and $1,800. And we will have to verify whether or not these
I imagine
exteriors are still
I'm sure on number will probably look.
good or not. Any further question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. Okay. You guys have anything else under old business?
No.
Okay, that gets us down to new business. And Charmin Gabbard is here with the harm reduction program. Charmin, I'm sorry you had to wait so long. We had a busy day so far.
Lots going on.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So, well, myself, Dr. White, a representative from Indiana University Public School of Health, Jessica Burton from Meridian, and of course the Indiana Health Department, and then my employees and family are all here with us today. So we're coming for our renewal for the Student Service Program.
Okay, okay. Do you have anything to show us?
Sure. it should be in front of you. There's 3 sheets, or actually 4 in front of you.
Okay. Here.
One of those being the SSP overview that was provided by the state, Erica Chapman from the state.
Your 2020 stats is your most current numbers, right? And you have quite a few participants.
So we've doubled in participants. We're in our new location now, too. So even by doubling our participants, that was during COVID. And as you remember, we were at Meridian, and once COVID started, we ended up going to the parking lot and using a tent or whatever means we needed to during that time. And then June 21st, we were able to move into our new location.
Yeah, everything got kind of shoved off to the side there for a while. You're back doing what you were originally doing now, right?
Actually, well, from my perspective, I feel like the syringe service program is in the best place that it's ever been as far as staffing and services that we're able to provide. We're currently giving referrals to all 3 mental health centers here in the community, but we've been able to successfully place 33 people in treatment over this past year, and that is a huge success. There's not a week that goes by that we don't or aren't able to help someone get into a treatment center. So we're working with other community stakeholders as well when it comes to placement. And then now that we have the cafe, it's doing absolutely amazing. I invited them down to come see it, but so on Thursday we do nothing but focus on harm reduction services, and then we do have 3 part-time employees now that we've been able to hire, and none of this money comes from our county. So we're working under other grants, and we partnered with Indiana Recovery Network in June, and that allowed us to expand to hire 2 part-time employees. That all 3 of our employees, besides myself, so all 4 of us have lived experience with substance use or mental illness that work in the program. So it's kind of like when you walk in the door and you know us or know us from our past, like if they can do it, and then they can too. So it's kind of like just that walking testament that recovery is possible if that's what they want.
I know you've made a lot of improvements in your program since it first started, that's for sure.
Well, some of them think that it doesn't, they shouldn't even be getting paid to work that work there. And the support that we have is amazing. So I just within the community and Jessica, but the State Board of Health, I mean, they're always offering additional technical assistance. And come next Friday, or this Friday actually, our staff will be trained so eventually we'll all be certified in Hep C and HIV testing. We've partnered with Aspire. They come every 2 weeks and do our testing. They're in-house. And then Indiana University Public School of Health, we have them with us for at least till 2023, and they're like staff and technical assistance and funding. So like things are good for us.
Yeah, good deal. Dr. White, you got anything you want to
I
add?
just wanted to add that what Charmin and her group has done is, if not the model of the region, it's probably the model of the state to approach this. As you know, our community's had 2 epidemics. We've had COVID and opiate. We're like the 3rd worst behind a couple other counties. So we definitely are still in the throes of an opiate epidemic. My role as health officers to make that declaration. That allows us to have access to state funding. And as Charmin mentioned, none of this comes out of county taxpayer money. And it's just been an amazing thing to see from where we started back in the back office of the health department to what Charmin has developed. This is the way it should be done. I mean, this is what if anybody's got a better idea how to handle the opiate crisis, we're all ears, but there is none. You've got to treat it as a disease. You've got to treat it with decreasing the stigma. It has to have a spiritual approach. It has to have a love approach. It has to have a scientific approach, evidence-based method. We got all that. And I just think we need to go another couple of years. We can't give up the meeting today. The request today is just that we're going for a renewal. It's up every 2 years. This will be our 3rd time that we've done it. And it's gotten better every year, so with less effort on my part.
Okay. fellas got any questions for Sharman or Dr. White? All right. Do with a motion, if you want to let them resume the, continue the harm reduction program.
I'll move to renew their harm reduction program.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to renew the Fayette County Harm Reduction Program. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. There you go, Sharman.
Thank you so much.
Keep up the good work.
Stop in and see us.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
all right.
Yes. Go somewhere. You're welcome. Thank you.
There was a representative here a while ago from Jansen and Spans Engineering, Leo. Is he still here? Did he leave? Did he just leave? Okay.
He said he just wanted to make sure we knew he's available.
Okay.
Was on the
Well, we don't want to watch him. He'll close our bridges on us. Okay. Also under new business, we have a 2022 precinct change survey that the county clerk is recommending that we fill out and fax in. This has to do with the redistricting that comes after every census year. And she doesn't have all the census data that she needs to do any of this yet, but this does have an August 11 deadline to be turned in, and she is recommending that we do fill out this survey and get this faxed in, so.
Yeah. Do you need a motion to fill it out?
Well, no, we need a motion to approve sending it in.
Okay, I'll move it to send it in.
Okay. We have a motion and motion by Mark, second by Dale to approve the filing of the 2022 precinct change survey with the Indiana Election Division. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. Okay, we'll get that taken care of yet today sometime. You guys have anything else under new business?
Nope.
Jane, do you have anything under new business?
I do not. Thank you.
County Attorney, do you have anything for us today?
Not today.
You will though, won't you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do we have any patron concerns today? Dick, do you have anything to say?
Okay.
Derek, do you have anything for us?
I'm just happy to sit by Dick tonight.
Okay.
Oh,
We're just trying to figure out something to say.
Okay, well, it's nice of you guys to stop in.
I'll move to approve the claims and payroll.
Okay, we have a motion by Mark, second by Dale to approve claims and payroll. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Okay, we will start this out.
Almost too fat to be able to get the kids. Anybody got anything else? I'll move to adjourn.
And a motion by Mark, second by Dale to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes, we're adjourned. Thank you all very much.